today from my organization called Wingmasters. Tomorrow my partner Julie will be here, and there are just two of us behind the name Wingmasters. We're both licensed wildlife rehabilitators, which means we're licensed by the federal government and the state of Massachusetts to be able to work with and rescue injured wild animals. We only work with birds of prey, not that we don't care or love other wildlife, but this is what we know the most about, and this is where we can be the most effective. All of the birds you're going to see were born in the wild. All of them, unfortunately, were permanently injured in the wild. None of these birds will go back into the wild again. Our center is located not far from here in Leverett, Massachusetts, and all of the birds you're going to see live outside in their own separate cages. They don't live together in one big cage for a very good reason. They don't like each other. What you're going to see here are a variety of raptors that are highly territorial. And during the medieval period, an ancient sport known as falconry reached the height of popularity. This sport is probably the oldest sport on the planet. It goes back to 3,000 years ago. It started in Asia, exactly where nobody knows for sure. These birds, especially the falcons and the hawks, were the most desired birds to be owned by members, or the highest ranking members, I should say, of society. Because you can train one of these birds to hunt in conjunction with you. And long before the invention of the gun, the invention of the rifle, if you wanted something, let's say large like a ruffed grouse, for example, then you needed to get yourself a bird of prey. But only, again, only if you are a high-ranking member of society. Well, the first two birds you're about to meet are falcons. The one you're about to meet is a type of falcon that is still found around here, but unfortunately not in large numbers. Now, speaking of large, how many of you are surprised by how small a falcon can be? How many of you were expecting, well, don't feel bad. I can tell you this, as a wildlife photographer, whenever I photograph falcons and I look at the images on my monitor when I get home, the birds appear so much larger in print. Why? Well, look at them. They're built like football linebackers. They have a blocky shaped head. They're broad-shouldered. They have huge eyes that is necessary to hunt their prey. What you're looking at here is the smallest of the 6 North American falcons, the American kestrel. This is a female that I'm holding right here. We have both male and female. The male is not here because they hate each other. And if they were here together, there would be a screaming match, the likes of which you would never forget. She is the larger of the two, surprisingly. Falcons are birds of prey. It's almost always that way. Females can be up to 40% larger than the males. Why? Well, they stay behind. They protect the nest. The smaller male provides for the family. And when you are a hunting bird, the smaller you are, the faster you are. And falcons are, in fact, the fastest animals on the entire planet. Now, the other falcon you'll meet, the peregrine falcon, is the fastest animal on this earth. And it's funny, when we're teaching in schools, and I say to the young people, I'm about to show you the fastest animal in the world, you'll hear, I'm going to ask you not to smoke near the birds, please. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. It's just bad for their respiratory. Thank you. I'll tell the young people you're about to see the fastest animal in the world, and you'll hear somebody say, he's got a cheetah with him. I absolutely do not have a cheetah with me. And if I did, we'd all be in deep trouble, because I have no idea how to hold a big cat like a cheetah, and the cheetah is not the fastest animal in the world anyway. More about the peregrine in just a moment. Now, this is a female that just turned 1 year old. If you look at her, I don't know why she's showing you the back of her. Thank you. If you look at the wing closest to me, you'll see it doesn't quite pull up all the way. Now, the wings are there. They're beautiful when they're up and open, but there is a problem. Her flight has been compromised. And this is a huge problem when you are, in fact, a falcon, because falcons are fast for a reason. Their job is to hunt other birds in the air while the falcon is flying and while the other bird is flying. Hawks and owls have got it easy. They stand in trees, they look, they listen for the movement of a rodent on the ground, they swoop down and catch it. Not this bird. This bird's job is to hunt while on the wing, which is a very difficult thing to do. If the male were here, you would also notice something else. Not only is he 40% smaller, he's incredibly colorful. His chest is as orange as a robin's, and his wings on the side are slate blue and rusty red. He almost looks like a tropical songbird. In fact, when he opens his wings on the underside, there's a beautiful black and white checkerboard, not the female. And this is why we hardly ever see female songbirds. Think of something as common as a cardinal. Yeah, we see them, but not as often as we do the male. The females are designed to blend in and to stay behind and protect their young. I'm sorry to tell you, over the next couple of years, this bird you're looking at, unfortunately, will be ended up or moved into what we call the endangered species category. We've been rescuing these kinds of birds now for almost 30 years, and we both started when we were 5. But we've been rescuing these birds for many, many years, and we used to rescue this type of falcon all the time. The last one we rescued was 8 years ago, and not a single one in between. Lots of hawks, an occasional eagle, lots of owls, not a single American kestrel. Last summer, we rescued this bird. That wing struck something in a field, we don't know what it was, and this is why she's here. Just because this bird will become endangered doesn't mean that we can't stop the bird from becoming extinct. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. I'm going to put her back into her traveling box, and I'm going to bring out the peregrine falcon. Now, the peregrine falcon, again, is not an eagle-sized bird, as you will see, but it is substantially larger than the American kestrel that we just met. The peregrine falcon, in 1972, the bird you're about to meet was so rare that here in the U.S., there were only 39 known pair left of the peregrine falcon. Bald eagles, osprey, brown pelican, bluebirds, not blue jays, but bluebirds, and many birds were all victims of a powerful chemical, a pesticide called DDT. And it almost caused even our national bird to become extinct. Good people got together and decided not to let that happen. In 1999, the peregrine falcon, the bird you're about to meet, was removed from the federal endangered species list. This is a bird that is no longer an endangered species. Imagine that. The name peregrine was a very popular name during the colonial period. When the Pilgrims arrived here, the very first child born here to the Pilgrims in the New World was a young boy, and his folks named him Peregrine. It means something. It means wanderer. Certainly the Pilgrims were wandering, and certainly this bird can wander. In 1 year, the fastest animal on the planet may travel somewhere up to 15,000 miles in 1 year alone. Now, this female that you're looking at is here, because 7 years ago, when she was almost a year old, she was hunting and she was accidentally mistaken by a responsible hunter for a ruffed grouse. And so she was shot in that wing. It's an accident. These things happen. But he did something good. He tried to save her, and he brought her to Tufts Wildlife Clinic in Grafton. They did save her, but they weren't able to fix that wing all the way. Up, please. The wings are there. As you can see, they're beautiful. But again, there's that compromised flight. The wings are closed. There is definitely a problem. So, how fast is the fastest animal in the world? Anybody want to tell me? Fastest animal on the entire planet. A lot faster than I could drive on Route 2 today. How fast is the fastest animal in the world? Up to 200 miles per hour. This bird will do something that no other bird would ever dream of. She will fly 1 mile or higher above the earth and then take her wings and close them. Well, if you are a mile above the earth and you suddenly close your wings, there aren't a lot of options left. In fact, there is only one. And as the bird is falling head first, with the wings pulled in tightly, she's accelerating. She's speeding up. This is when she's reaching speed somewhere between 150 and 200 miles per hour. On the YouTube website, there is a National Geographic video that shows a peregrine falcon falling at 185 miles per hour. Why? Because this is a bird hunter, and down below her in flight is another bird, her favorite bird. It's called the pigeon, except the pigeon has no idea what is about to happen. Many years ago, I was talking to a biologist over at Logan Airport in Boston, and he was telling me that he witnessed one of the Boston peregrine falcons bringing down in air a 14-pound Canada goose. Now wait a minute, she only weighs 2 pounds. How can she pick up 14 pounds? She can't. But when you're moving at those speeds, what the falcon will do is it will knock the other bird off balance out of the air, and on the ground the falcon will finish the hunting job. So what is all this upside down, over hyperactivity all about? Well, there is a problem. This bird has bonded with me to such a point, because I've been handling her for 7 years now, that she has accepted me as a male peregrine falcon. And let's say she gets somewhat excited when she's on the glove. It must be the clone, I don't know. The real problem is in the springtime. And because this is a family program, we will leave it at that. With your imagination, you can only begin to wonder what I'm talking about. Somewhat hyperactive. So, on the face are 2 things that you saw on the face of the American kestrel falcon. Every falcon on the planet has these 2 things. And for that matter, so do a lot of baseball and football players. Anybody know what I'm referring to? Unmistakable. It is a falcon trademark. Ancient Egyptians copied the very idea from the bird you are looking at. It's that huge stripe underneath each eye. Why do a lot of ball players do that? Baseball and football players. Yeah, because black reflects nothing. Black attracts. And when you're falling at 200 miles an hour and your job is to hunt another bird in flight, well, you better have a special adaptation to help you survive. And all falcons have got it in the form of a black stripe. Today, there are 1,500 pair of peregrine falcons that live here in the U.S. alone. 1972, there were 39 pair. I was driving past the high school in my town not too long ago, and there were over 200 pair of Canada geese on that field. And I thought, 39 pair of one bird in 1972, and here down the street from my house, we've got 200 pair of Canadian geese. What an incredible, incredible success story this bird is. Massachusetts had 16 pair, and almost all of them live in big cities. Springfield's got a pair, Worcester's got a pair, Boston's got 4 pair, New York City's got 14 pair. Why? Because they're birds of height. They love tall buildings, and no big city is suffering from a shortage of pigeons. That's not very attractive. Now, upside down is not acceptable. Thank you. I love you too. Not on my head. Thank you. See what I mean? You think I'm kidding. If she had her way, she would have sat next to me in my car as I drove here today. Well, let me put her back into her traveling box. I will say this, what an awesome bird this is. And I'll tell you, this is one of the rewards of being a wildlife rehabilitator. Being able to bond with a wild animal. Not so much that it's the fastest animal in the world, but it is just a very, very special bird. And I'll tell you, if I could fly just once, I wouldn't want to be this bird. All the man-made obstacles out there in the world present problems for peregrine falcons. However, when she's flapping her wings, this is what we call rowing. Every now and then, I can feel my arm lifting up just from the power of those amazing wing beats. Let me put her back into her traveling box. Now I'm going to show you the oldest bird that we've ever rescued. Sit down, please. Sit. There you go. Well done. Well done. I'm going to show you the oldest bird that we've ever rescued. And the only reason I know the age of the bird that you just met is because when we rescued her, her plumage was brown. During their first year, their feathers are differently colored. The bird you're about to meet, the red-tailed hawk, not only do I know her exact age, I know where she was born as well. 2.5 years ago, on Thanksgiving morning, we got a phone call to rescue this bird on Route 128 in the Boston area. She was unfortunately hit by a car. Well, you'll see that one of her wings is missing a piece at the end. When we brought her back to our center and we looked her over, up please, we saw that one wing was missing a piece at the end. Let me come down here first. Good. All right, and that's the wing closest to me. Well, we looked her over and then we saw something on her that we don't see very often. It's right here, a silver band. That band was put on her leg when she was a chick in the nest. Turns out the nest that she was born in was being studied by a scientist who works for the federal government. And all of the chicks were given a band on their leg for a reason. Look at that. Can we take that off? No. I'm trying to get your pictures to come out good, but she's looking a little bit like Phyllis Diller. Right. This is what happens during molting season. So anyway, I would reach out to take it, but the problem is, see how she reacts to movement? These birds are so visual. There's an old expression, it goes like this: I'll be watching you like a hawk. Now you know where it comes from. Here's a bird. Here's a bird that could see a rodent the size of this finger. As long as the rodent were in motion, she could see that happening from up to 1 mile away.
Wow.
Eagles and hawks have probably the best vision on the planet. So, all of the chicks were given a band on their leg for a reason. This way, in case someone like me were to ever find them, we could understand their history. First of all, she was born in New Jersey a long time ago. Why did she move to Massachusetts? I have no idea, and she's not talking. But here's what I do know. Because of her weight and her size, she should live to be somewhere around 10 to 12 years old. When you are a bird, the larger you are, the longer you live. The smaller you are, the shorter you live. Well, she's not 10, she's not 12. She just celebrated her 24th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
This bird was living in the wild for 21 and a half years. How is this possible? I don't know exactly, but I can tell you this. Obviously, when she was living in the wild, this must have been one heck of a hunting bird to be able to manage that. And a falconer during the medieval period would just die for a bird like this, because this is not only an ultimate hunting bird, but this is a highly skilled one who has nothing to prove to anyone. The only reason she's standing on this glove is not because she likes me, but because this is the hand that feeds her. And that is the extent of our relationship. From the front, up please, we are pale. From the back, we are dark, except for our tail. And this is where the name red-tailed hawk comes from. And on a bright sunny day, one of these birds soaring high in the sky, the sun lands on their tail lights up like a red stop sign. When you see one of these birds circling overhead, they're not hunting. Their prey would see them on the ground. Red tail showing up? No. They're marking their territory. Not the way a dog or cat does. They're marking their territory with their rusty red tail. And that tail tells every other bird to stop and go away. It is a territorial marker, and it works really, really well. One place to see one of these birds, your local school. If you've ever seen a school cafeteria after lunch, you know what I'm talking about. The stuff that ends up on the floor, on the tables, ends up outside in the dumpster. And in her mind, that dumpster outside the school isn't a trash dumpster, it's a huge mousetrap. And she's grateful that it's there. This is why schools are great places. There we go, turkey vulture, right ahead. Now that's interesting because a lot of people will think that is a bird of prey, and it turns out it's not. The vultures that live around here, because of DNA testing, we now know that they are actually members of the stork family. They're not birds of prey. They have a hooked upper beak, And they've got claws, talons if you will, but they're lacking strength. That's what they don't have, and this is precisely why they are scavengers. Boston has a pair of these birds that nest on one of the light towers at Fenway Park. And they're not there because they like baseball. They are there because 37,000 people can drop a lot of food on the ground. And that food attracts a lot of rodents, which makes her a very happy red-tailed hawk. Well, let me put her back into her traveling box, and I want to show you how falconers got themselves one of these birds during the medieval period. Now, here's the thing. If you're talking about a fast flyer like a falcon, how in the world are you going to catch yourself one of those birds without injuring the bird? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to get yourself an owl. Let me explain. Owls are not liked by other birds for a good reason. At night, owls have the upper hand. Owls hunt rodents, but if they can't find a rodent, then the owl will hunt another bird. Well, if you are an owl and you are standing in a tree and you're minding your own business, and suddenly one blue jay, one starling, one nuthatch, one any bird finds you, that bird is going to go and tell every other bird in the neighborhood what they just found. Within seconds, that owl now finds itself being mobbed by a group of birds. The point is to flush the owl out into the open where more birds can find the owl. Why are they picking on the owl? Because the night before, that owl tried to eat one of them. Well, this is what somebody figured out years ago. They realized that if you got yourself an owl, over in Europe, they would use something called the Eurasian eagle owl, and they would do something rather inhumane. They would tether the owl into the middle of an open field during migration season. Now, falcons, hawks migrating see the owl on the ground and say, hey, I'm going to go down there and check that out. What the falcon, what the eagle, what the hawk doesn't know is standing behind a tree is a falconer with a long net, about to throw it over the falcon or the hawk. So they actually use the owl as a decoy. Let me bring out this great horned owl. Now, the owls are not happy today, and I know why. Because of the rain. The three birds you just met, their feathers will repel the water. But owls are like sponges, and in the wild, when an owl gets wet, an owl is then permanently stranded until it dries off. So his instinct right now says to him, rain, and he's not very happy about that. Thank you very much. Well, that's the nice thing about outdoor programs, no cleanup required. Now, I have to tell you something funny. When we go to schools, which is almost every day, the first thing we're asked about the owl is, can you make the owl spin his head all the way around? The answer is no, I can't, because he can't. And yet, there are many children's books that will tell you owls can turn their heads 360 degrees in both directions. Watch closely. I'm going to let you in on a big secret. This is what owls do. They show you the front of their body and the back of their head at the same time. Yes, it looks strange, but it's not special. Every bird on the planet can do that right there. Nice timing, by the way. Every bird can show you the front of their body and the back of their head, because no bird can move their eyes the way you and I can. And every bird has at least 14 vertebrae. You and I have only 7. So why do we laugh? Because it appears that he's missing a neck. Obviously he's not, but you just can't see it. He's hot, he's panting, he's releasing hot air, he's hearing voices over there in the music. That's making him a little scared. Up we go, up we go. Thank you, thank you. There we go. Now, look at the camouflage from the front. It's decent. Look at it from the side. Look at it from the back. This is why most of you don't see owls, and yet they live all around you. The best way to find an owl is not to waste your time looking in trees. You'll never find them. But if you're outside and you suddenly hear birds in a group screaming, go to the tree where all the noise is coming from. There's an excellent chance you will find yourself looking right back into the eyes of an owl. Last thing about him, this is New England's most powerful hunting bird. It's not the largest. That would be the American bald eagle. But look at this, up close. The feet on this bird are designed to hunt rodents and other birds. If he can't find them, then he'll go after larger things, including raccoon, a possum. Don't be surprised when I say skunk. He's got no sense of smell. Oh, and one more thing. A member of the weasel family that I don't rescue, it's called the fishy. This is the only bird in North America, as far as I know, that will even tackle a fishy. Well, let me put him back because my arm is about to break off. We have one last bird to go. And the last bird you're about to meet is very interesting. Very interesting, the response this last bird gets. Now, we rescue eagles, hawks, falcons, owls, and osprey. The daytime hunters always get sort of a when people see them. The nighttime hunters do as well, but every now and then you'll get a totally different response. Let me show you what I mean.
Yeah. It's gonna be tiny.
Thank you. Right on cue. Nobody made that sound when you saw the falcons and the hawk. You heard a distinctive gasp. I bring out this little 5-ounce eastern screech owl, and then what do I hear? Oh! Why? Because she's cute, that's why. You know what? I'm a licensed wildlife rehabilitator, and I usually avoid words like cute and adorable because this is not my pet. And I don't want to give you the wrong idea that it is. It's not. It's a wild bird, but let's be perfectly blunt. She's absolutely adorable. Part of the reason owls look like little feathered gnomes. They look like little feathered people. Look at the face. It's round, it's flat, the eyes are on the front, just like you and me. Other birds, eyes are on the side. Look where the beak is, where we've got a nose, and underneath the beak, it looks like a little white mustache, which gives you the idea this must be a really wise bird. The falcon is the wisest bird I will ever know. The owl is the least wisest bird that I will ever know. It doesn't need wisdom. Yes, it looks wise, but it doesn't need to be, and here's why. They have ears that can hear a rodent running under the earth. They have eyes that see in low light, incredible camouflage, plus the ability to fly silently. You don't need wisdom when you will have all that going for you. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick around for a little bit. If you want to come up and take pictures of her, that's fine. If you want to come up and ask questions, that's good too. Otherwise, just pray that the sun stays out. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.